We appreciate the excitement, the enthusiasm, all the thank yous and respondings and compliments, and all I can say the first time we had a user group is a little more hostile crowd. We weren't really doing a whole lot really well back then. We were trying hard. we were in the bathtub swimming circles for a long time, trying to get so much shit done you had no idea. So this is kind of a rare opportunity for the three of us all be together. These guys are terrific. We've been together for a long time. When I had Super Pawn, and I had 2 stores, and I said I'm going into IT development. I hired a guy that I thought was a smart guy, and he was one of the 2 guys I told earlier that made a loan and made the Apple IIe the first inventory system, and then put him and his partner into the point of sale business, and end up hiring one of the 2 and started our own company and made our first hire, Mike Wishart. And he was a snotty, very geeky type guy. We took him across the street to Cal Neva. He was really smart, smarter than anyone that I know, I think, right? Even smarter than Tally. I'm sorry, Tally. Mike is very smart, too. We have to maybe do an IQ test and really settle this. Smartest guy that I know. I always brag about him. He always gets embarrassed when I say it, but we couldn't really do what we do without the mind of like one really strong engineer. And Mike's dad was the dean of the MIS or the IT department at the University of Nevada, and worked there for the whole time. And so, growing up with a dad like that and part of the engineering, really kind of had a view of what the world was going to look like in the future because he had front row seat to the world. Kelly was a part of the team that I started in almost version 2 after BCLS was our first version, which was DOS. We went to Windows. I decided, hey, we're going to need to step up the game, and then we moved from Vegas to Reno, shifted the whole company and upset everybody, and started kind of over again. Hired an individual, Marco Herrera, who was our CIO at Super Pawn, and he was this guy that was introduced to me by a guy named Bobby Kotick. Bobby Kotick now owns largest gaming company in the world, and Marco was one of his 6th employee. He was, I think, was he summa cum laude graduate at UNLV? I think he was 1 or 2. And these 2 guys went to school together, and they were working for one of the military contractors, Lockheed. And these guys were working on secret military shit when Nevada used to do all that nuclear testing. This group of guys that went to school at UNLV were working on and working with the world's greatest statistical minds. And I'm thinking, gosh, if guys that are working with great statistical minds and I'm trying to make sure that my accounting is synced up, I think maybe that could be a pretty good match. And Kelly's the best project manager in the business. And so the course of things, I sold the company. These guys went off and did another job. And pre-med had been all done and kind of moving on. And we're thinking, hey, we want to, not we, actually, Mike is the one that started this whole thing. And he gave me a call one day and he goes, hey, I'm out of a job. This is '08. He goes, I think that we can do this. I think we can actually see this vision fully immersed with the new technology that I see that's coming out. I asked him one question. I go, think you can finish it? Think you can start it, get it going? Enterprise development. We've done this 3 times. Anyone that knows anything about technology, to build an enterprise operating system, it's 1 out of 10 gets finished. We did it 3 times in the course of the last 20 years. And this one is the grandest of platform enterprise developments that we've ever done or we've ever seen. And essentially, all these stores are running off a single instance, housed today at Microsoft Azure, a very complicated, very fully immersed technical achievement. Microsoft actually had their challenges in really understanding how did we do this so well. The redundancy, the power, the integration, the multi-platform, the omni-channel, the websites. These guys figured all that stuff out. So Kelly York, Mike Wishart, I'd like to introduce my partners, the co-founders. And I'm now going to turn this over to Telly.
All right, we're going to open it up. It's a Q&A. So many questions. I don't know who to choose from. Josh.
Scale it to thousands of locations. Took us a while to make sure we got it right. It's not easy for any company to grow to humongous size, but we figured it out and pretty confident we can scale to any size, literally. But there's challenges with doing that.
Yeah, definitely the issue of putting 1,200 stores on a couple servers and figuring out how to split that up and have combined data for the estimator in one spot for all of you to use at the same time was a big challenge.
To the complexity of scale, whenever we talk to, we talk with major clients, the first thing I ask you, can you scale this thing? Because no one's ever done it. Cash America couldn't do it. They spent $60 million trying to get it past 500 stores. They failed. First Cash, they don't even have anything even close to it. We're the only company that successfully has been able to build an operating system and scale to the size. And we've been field tested by third-party inquirers of our ability to scale up to 3,000 stores. So we think we can get past that. So these guys have done a phenomenal job.
We've never done a panel like this with all three of them. As I'm sitting here, I realize that most of our questions might actually come from employees. So you guys are more than welcome to ask questions as well if you're curious. Alan.
The funny thing about when we first started is neither Kelly nor I knew C# day one. We were very familiar with a lot of other programming languages, but we wanted to use C# and XAML and these other Microsoft tools. I can go through the list, but so we took 3 weeks and went to a Microsoft workshop that was like dedicated to us, and learned as much as we could, as fast as we could, and then put the team together from there. So that was a tough start. But yeah, the rest kind of fell into place with just a lot of thinking. So
The hardest thing is just keeping the faith. You have to trust you're going to connect the dots and the future is going to pull you through. You've really got to have faith when you do the startup. Just believe in yourself and your people you're with that you're going to get it done. That's the hardest thing, and you can never give up. You never give up ever. It's like having kids. You never would send your kids off for adoption, right? I mean, I hope not. So same thing with a company. You raise it, and you gotta just it's your baby, and you just gotta have faith that everything's gonna work out.
Yeah, I guess with that was the question I asked earlier when I said, you guys all in? And they said yes, and I said, okay, we're going to do it. So we never turn back. We're tenacious, and there's never a day that these guys don't put 150% in. So, and you too, our team. You guys turn it on every day. It's amazing. I'm the marketing guy. Yeah. No, no one's going to do that one. So we did Prima, and Prima came from Pawn Retail Internet Management Analysis Systems. And I thought we killed it, and we did. I think Jerry had said that guy when he saw that. He goes, "Oh my God, what you guys have there?" And I go, "Bravo, we're gonna do it again." That's how it happened. Well, I mean, when I built this, I thought that, and I still believe that someday, all retail stores are going to be connected. All the inventory is going to be ubiquitous and completely immersed and transparent for people to view and purchase. And you know, there's all these warehouses with all this merchandise, and it's all in a place. It's all in a location. It's probably closer to your house than probably it's going to end up across the country. Someday, every single piece of merchandise is going to have some form of a way of knowing where it's at, and it's going to be able to ship it from one place to the other. We're all going to be able to leverage everyone's square footage of space in some way, and all this is going to interconnect someday. So, I built this with the vision of fostering a platform enabling pawnbrokers to be relevant, a part of it, not behind it and reactive and dead. And if you're a business and you're not a part of it, you're dead, no matter what industry. So it's just not pawn, it's just everything. And I saw that a long time ago, and it's become really relevant. But I think 10 years from now, we're going to see a very, even more connected world, and the stores that are actually connected to it and a part of it will be a part of it, and they will flourish and grow, and the ones that aren't going to be. So we're enabling this. And if you look at Bravo, you'll say, and people have told me this, half dozen people, they say, Bravo really isn't a platform, it's actually a franchise. They feel like there are people here that belong to really significant franchise organizations, and they go, "Oh my God, this is I paid to have a franchise to have this," and it really is. It's a network. It's the data. It's brand. It enables. It's expanding the opportunities of people like beyond. Someone came to me and showed me a program that they're doing. Utilizing Buy It, and I'm going, my God, people are actually thinking beyond. That was you. That was amazing. I was blown away today. It was phenomenal. That's what's happening.
Just to add to that, I think in 10 years, the pawn shops that are most connected to the internet and have the most eyeballs are the ones going to win. And probably in 10 years, we'll probably be looking at digitized digital currency. I think it's coming, and we're going to have to adapt, but we'll see.
We'll be number one.
Yeah.
We'll still be number one. Travis.
Immediately, it's going to be doing Blue Dog. That's what we're working on. Mostly online. I mean, I think more and more it's going to be more and more prevalent that like PayPal's going to have to accept it as a form of payment. And any of those types of online merchants will have to have a way to do it. I mean, it's gonna happen in the rest of the world. If we don't do it here, we're gonna be behind. So.
Well, I mean, I'm keeping an eye on Marketplace, Facebook, Libra. I really think I've been watching Libra. I'm part of the forum group. I've already joined it. Keeping an eye on the technology. It's not just digital currency. It's also the blockchain way of doing that transaction. And you know, I've got this sense. When I chose Microsoft, there were 5 other operating systems out there. I really believe that Facebook is going to have so many customers that are going to have what they call the Calibra, which is Calibra, which is the Facebook wallet, that the consumer is going to have the wallet, and the companies that get those 2 billion customers are going to have a critical advantage, because to get customers to choose a Bitcoin or bit currency in the U.S., there's so many, it's so confusing. But I think if it comes from Facebook, it's going to have credibility, and it's launching in 12 months. Yep. So to your point, yeah, it's accelerating. And those other currencies, the one in Ukraine, they'll probably be a part of the Libra and be exchanging their Bitcoins too. So it's to me the next thing that's going to happen in terms of the disruptive thing that's going to happen with banking, with almost the 3% credit card fees that we're paying the Sirius network right now in order to do a credit card transaction, and that eliminates it. So that's the reason why everyone wants it. I think the strong ones are going to be stronger, and the weak ones are going to go away.
I gave you all 3 hours to think about questions. Are there any others? I know. I'm up here to moderate. I was thinking it was going to be hot up here.
Never. I think it's done. I think brick and mortar, you have to basically figure out how to reuse the current space you currently have in a different way. No one's building a big box. Everyone's building a smaller one. So even the big box guys are building smaller stores. If you go into Walgreens, they've got 125,000 SKUs and 3 employees. Labor costs are going up. Significantly, California is going double, right? Almost in 5 years. And then there's autonomous cars. Shipping is going to become much cheaper, so logistics is going to be more refined. So I believe that we're going to have basically driverless cars coming to our stores and dropping stuff off from customers. Potentially could be very interesting. Our stores for loans, brick and mortar, are relevant because we have to hold it and store it. Maybe at some point in time we don't have to do that. I don't know. That day may come when we don't have to do that, but I think that license, the regulatory actually friction that pawnbrokers actually live underneath, actually is our lifeblood. It's a license. Very limited. We can't not everyone can get into it. It actually kind of protects our territory, so it's actually a really good thing. But between transportation dropping, it's going to drop like a rock. That cost along with convenience. I don't think that if a brick and mortar store is more convenient somehow, it's going to have to be across the street from your house. You're going to have the variety that Amazon has. So I just think maybe there's some sort of resurgence of brick and mortar, of a different experience, experiential kind of thing. I'm definitely kind of guy that likes to go in and touch things, so I enjoy the experience of going in. But I do that maybe twice a year. I don't know. Maybe other shoppers have to do it more frequently. But I just don't see the convenience that other retailers or other types of industries are going to offer. Because I believe that shoppers are going to bring the stuff to your house to touch and feel. I mean, that's next, right? If you're like a retailer, you're going to say, oh, I'm going to send you like 5 things, and someone's going to come and size you, and we're going to have it turned around in 24 hours. I see that, but I don't see it.
By drone.
Sam.
Sounds like right out of Blade Runner type thing. I think pawnbrokers have really got to get more creative. I think creativity is going to be a big part of it. Bravo's got great tools with creating a lot of different regulatory sets to handle different situations, different categories, promotional tools, things like that. Just on the lending side, to do creative loans, responsible loans, things like that. Sales floors are going to shrink, like you said.
Well, I think you got to find whatever channel that makes it work, make that works. And there's going to be a lot of I think in the fintech investment, I think there's potential for other channels to open for basically liquidation of merchandise we're talking about, right? How can we sell our stuff faster? How can we sell it for less? How can we sell it at all? Maybe there's some, some sort of liquidation site that's really cool and they're developing a market. Amazon is a great place to sell merchandise. The API is very complicated. We're a small shop, so even for our company, our size, to actually be neck and neck with eBay is actually a monumental feat for a company our size. For us to take another bite of the apple of another large API into a big channel like that triples our work. And so we just have to scale to a larger size in order to rationalize a new channel like that. Adding mobile and then adding the new payments that's coming up is a huge project for us, because we are integrating all these different payment channels through mobile, e-commerce, and your point of sale. All that money flowing into 3 different areas simultaneously, and accounting and accountable and refunds and all the stuff that goes on with payments. So that's a big chunk of challenge for us to master, and we think we're doing the right thing by integrating with a company who's pro-pawn, who really sees the niche as being valuable, and they're really bought into that. And then and they have figured out how to create multiple channel banking relationships to ensure that we're protected. So we're not really mainstream in some ways, and we're thinking that because we're a niche and specialty service provider, that we're going down that path. So I love Amazon. I love Marketplace. I love Facebook. I see digitization happening on Facebook, which may push us closer into facilitating a closer relationship with Facebook. And as long as there's no political friction for the industry that we're in, or anything that's going to, prohibit us from being a part of it, we're definitely much more sensitive to what the political scene is right now, because PayPal basically, decided something without actually having any written policy. It's actually their political culture that's saying that we're going to take the next step here. And so, and we make big investments in this. $5 million to do mobile. We don't get paid back those investments for 7-10 years. So we're hoping that we can get to 2,000 stores, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 stores is really what I saw as a potential marketplace for Bravo really to be kind of the player. If we're able to do that, then every one of your stores is exponentially worth more money, because it's a part of a more powerful network. And so it is a franchise in the growth rate of that, but also those revenues then enable us to take on bigger deals. So.
I just want to add, we've really been thinking a lot about Facebook. Anyone would be interested in us listing items on Facebook for sale? By show of hands. How about Amazon? Yeah, so a little more interested in Facebook right now. We're really thinking about it. It's a simpler API. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's essentially a very sophisticated API, because it deals with gun regulation. We're basically investing in a whole new marketplace. I think you announced that, right? So we're opening up a new gun marketplace to address that. And so the complexity is, it's an FFL transfer. Guns have to be securitized in a certain way. And when you marry another third party, you have to manage this relationship. When they change something, it breaks you. They're a very small player, and it's a very kind of a narrow sales channel for us. So I'm not seeing an integration with another gun marketplace. We have auction actually on Baya now, but it's not live auction. And this is just my opinion. I haven't really researched it in a while, Jerry, so this is kind of off the cuff. But most of the local, like most of the live auctions work well kind of almost regionally and sometimes locally. And so it's hard to say we're going to do one in Texas or let alone Dallas, because there's not like an auction network of live auctions happening in 500 cities that we could actually integrate in. So the individual type of attempt to accommodate some sort of integration is just too difficult. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I should, yeah, if you got some information, I'll follow up on that. Good idea. Um, yes. I'm sorry?
I'm going to go back one really quick just so everybody got the answer to Scott's, and that was, can you do eBay auctions through Bravo? And the answer is yes. So if you don't know how to do that, we can show you. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, we'd love it to. But it's all commensurate to the adoption rate of everyone putting their inventory on it. So the more inventory on it, the bigger the marketplace it becomes. Simple as that. That's the equation. Because every single item that goes on there, we feed into Google. So we get higher ranking when we have more merchandise on there. So flipping the switch and putting your inventory on exponentially helps everybody else, because people want variety, and you know, we've got 265,000 items on there right now. If we had 1 million items on there, we'd be 3 times more. But even saying that, we were the 16,000th busiest website in the U.S. 16000, 16,000th busiest. So that's really quite extraordinary in terms of the size of our industry and the size of the marketplace. But we get 30,000 people a day looking at it. We get 6,000 clicks a day, people looking at merchandise. But we need more. So
I'd add the merchandise needs to be priced right, and something we're thinking about working on, making sure. It's one thing to list your products on Buy, it's another thing to get it priced competitively with Amazon. And thought about that a lot.